All right, all right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game is going to be between Starbuck and Infi, taking place here on Scrimmage for the All the Random Cup, or OR Cup. We see Starbuck spawning under the name Dr. Bucky on the bottom left-hand side of the map, going up against Infi, who has spawned as the yellow undead. Let's go ahead and get to that 2-minute mark and see what is in store for us. All right, Ultra of Darkness, gonna be that random hero. We knew it. We love it as we wait for what type of heroes will be jumping out here on the battlefield. Ancient Board getting a little bit tanky, and we see Starbuck opening things up with a classic Keeper of the Grove. So Keeper of the Grove going up against a Paladin. All right, talk about an uphill to climb. The Paladin cannot do damage with anything. It cannot heal his own friendly units. And, oh my god, how painful is this? How painful and how unlucky are you? And well, we're not always looking for the most balanced game. Sometimes we're just looking for a crazy game, and this is that indeed. Devotion aura as the first ability to give these ghouls 01 upgrades to start. The Wisp of Starbuck is going to scout this out and see a Paladin right there and perhaps laugh a little as that ogre does get taken down. Keeper of the Grove already venturing forward, and now that Keeper of the Grove could come across the map, use some entangles and some entangle and some treants to finish off a ghoul or two. Now, I will say this: the Paladin does have the option. Oh, is he gonna auto attack the Paladin here to disrupt the Dark Ritual? No, or the Ritual Dagger? No, he is not. What the Paladin can do in this situation is hire up mercenaries. The mercenaries, if they are of the right variety, they will actually be able to be healed up by the Paladin. That is going to be, well, rather odd here as the Keeper of the Grove still wandering about again. Skeletal minions, well, going after that Keeper of the Grove now. All right. Paladin coming back around, throwing the hammer at that Keeper of the Grove. Keeper of the Grove looking to back up again. There's a little bit of damage once more. Tidecaller, well, that Tidecaller, even though it is a level 2 with 240 hit points, actually starts off with 6 armor. That's fairly high, as the Paladin does get to level 2. All right, level 2 Paladin, he's going to go for Divine Shield. That is going to be the big question there, as the Keeper of the Grove just rocks on by again. Tech to Tier 2 has started. We can see Starbuck also doing that Tech to Tier 2 thing as the, well, Paladin heads back. Perhaps going to try and get a little bit of healing going. Nope, not going to get much of anything, just Devotion Aura, and it does go for that Holy Light. So Holy Light is that second ability as the, well, we see another Tidecaller be brought out. So Starbuck now getting up a Tidecaller of his own. And what is this Makura Tidecaller looking to do? There's Frost Armor onto that Keeper of the Grove. And are we going to see perhaps some Frost Armor applied to some of these other targets? That Frost Armor adding in an additional 7 armor. So that Maruka Tidecaller. And we are now looking at a Shadow Dancer. All right, so Shadow Dancer, the Maruka Tidecaller could Frost Armor himself and then suddenly have north of 13 armor already. Wow, that is a very, very high level Frost Armor, stronger than the typical Frost Armor ability. All right, we do see some Curse being applied down as well. There's some Satyrs. Well, the Shadow Dancer perhaps applying that Curse right there. Are we going to see some Holy Light? Treants now getting called over. Ghouls now being brought in. And there goes one Deny right there off of that Ritual Dagger. Treants getting taken down. We're seeing more damage getting, well, applied here. Are we going to see that Treant getting taken out? Yes, we are. As the Paladin sits at level 2. And perhaps is going to try and train up another unit. Now, one thing that would be interesting to see is if Infi actually goes very heavy into mercenaries and then also gets obsidian statues. The Paladin would then have the ability to heal, heal alongside some obsidian statues, providing that Paladin with mana and hit points as well. And so that Paladin would actually be much more dangerous overall. Devotion Aura also giving good armor to all of these units right now, as the Shadow Dancer, well, is going to get cleaned up here. Well, level 3 now on that Paladin. what is going to be that level 2 ability or level 3 ability. It is going to be Holy Light, so 400 hit point burst heals, which would indicate to me Infi wants to get more things from this mercenary camp. Top left-hand side of the map, Starbuck already walking a tree of life over and now entangling that gold mine. So it is going to be a race to see who gets this expansion up first. All right, a little bit of damage. We're looking at a Goblin Tinker as the second hero coming across from Infi. So interesting once more. Perhaps Rockets or Pocket Factory could cause a bit of disruption, as we're looking at a Ring of Protection +4 now on that Paladin, who now has +9 armor between the Frost armor and that Devotion aura and this Ring of Protection. Keeper of the Grove does have a Potion of Greater Mana, has a Staff of Teleportation, could perhaps come across here in just a second. We're looking at the Pocket Factory, perhaps trying to go after this Forest Troll Berserker Creep Camp. Keeper of the Grove wants to get some damage in across all of these units, as the Haunted Goldmine taking a little bit of damage. Skeletal minions popping up as well. We're looking at the Goblin Tinker making its rounds. Haunted Goldmine nearly completed at 400 some odd hit points, and, well, rising still, as there's plenty of room to, well, keep that Haunted Goldmine alive. Gargoyles also out on the battlefield here. We're going to see some mining getting underway. 4 out of the 5 already mining here. Meanwhile, we are at 5 out of 5 full saturation for Starbuck. Shadow Hunter, the second hero, also bringing in a Spider Crab Limb Ripper and a Frost Wolf, in addition to that Makura Tidecaller. Goblin Tinker looking to get to level 2. Should be able to easily get there. We can see that the Gargoyles and the Satyrs are providing a little bit of additional damage. That Pocket Factory trying to crank out these Clockwork Goblins to engage and fight and perhaps die on death, as well as the Goblin Tinker gets to level 2 here. All right, there goes a quick entangle onto Infi's Shadow Dancer. It does get taken out, and now Starbuck, well, trying to back away again. Meanwhile, Paladin is out here on the battlefield. Are we going to see some, well, big Holy Lights? We do not, as the Paladin is still trying to give chase. Shadow Hunter back at his neck of the woods, still summoning up some more Serpent Wards. Or we'll be able to summon some Serpent Wards and perhaps be able to clear out of this creep camp eventually, as this southern 6 o'clock expansion will be opening up.
Players' forces are under attack.
Now, what are they really trying to do here? We can see that the Goblin Tinker is sitting at 2.5. Paladin is sitting at 3.5. Going up against a level 3 Keeper of the Grove and Shadow Hunter. Shadow Hunter opted to go for level 2 Healing Wave, and with that Pure Up to Vitality is rather strong. Dryads are going to be able to benefit from that Healing Wave burst as well, so they're going to be difficult to focus down. We are looking at a couple of Spirit Towers and an Arubian Tower getting constructed to perhaps try and keep these Dryads on their toes. Keeper of the Grove getting ready to engage. Dual potions of mana on that Keeper of the Grove. Perhaps one should be given to that Shadow Hunter in time as Starbuck is grouping things up. There's a blue Dragon Spawn Warrior. Serpent Ward quickly getting cleaned out. Dryads not even bothering to poke with that slow poison there, as they should be getting into position. I don't know. It feels like the animation on this blue Dragon Spawn Warrior not nearly as clean as, say, the Keeper of the Grove or some of the other quadrupeds here on... Yeah, quadrupeds here in WarCraft 3. So we still have some red creep camps to clear out. Going to be rather strong. That Dark Wizard able to do a lot of damage, but right now, pressure inside the main base of Infi. Gargoyles trying to finish off a Dryad. They do not get finished off. Staff of Preservation brings the unit back safely home. And now the Shadow Hunter, well, has to be a little bit careful. Healing Wave bouncing around, spreading out all of that damage again. That is level 1 Serpent Wards, not the level 2 variety. Archer could get taken down, does get taken down at the hands of the Null Overseer. Meanwhile, well, we're looking at the Paladin Goblin Tinker combination clearing out a relatively easy orange creep camp here, as the Keeper of the Grove keep some tabs too. Shadowhunter going to pick up a Tome of Intelligence. Are we going to see a potential engagement here? There goes an Entangle onto the Paladin. Paladin has not been able to do very much of anything, as the Paladin should be trying to back away. Paladin has absorbed quite a bit of damage. Level 1 Devotion Aura, unable to Holy Light himself. We're going to see those Serpent Wards get taken down. Shadowhunter just shy of level 4. We are teching to tier 3 now by Starbuck. We are already at tier 3 by Infi. Do we see a third and final hero? No, we do not. Difficult to actually get good hero synergy when your heroes are all random. All right, slight engagement here. Dryads poking apart. Holy Light trying to keep that Goblin Tinker alive, and it does keep him alive as the Makura Tidecaller, well, suffering quite a bit of damage. There's another Holy Light again. Medium armor, no Frost armor cast, and that Frost armor would have made a very big difference. Meanwhile, Furball Tracker trying to come across here, trying to get in some damage. 29 to 33. Paladin trying to back itself into a corner, taking quite a bit of damage. Obsidian statues are already out here on the battlefield. There is a potion of invulnerability used in order to try and stay alive a little while longer. Meanwhile, Obsidian statue still trying to provide a bit of heal. There's level 4 now on the Shadowhunter. The Paladin is still making its way forward. That the invulnerability about to come to an end. Dryads could get finished off here. There's another Holy Light keeping that Goblin Tinker alive for now. Not summoning up more Pocket Factories, though. That is a surprise as the Gargoyles are about to fall. All right, Gargoyle or 2 about to fall here. Meanwhile, Tracker, takes a big round of burst damage there, trying to retreat back. Dryads could perhaps try and finish off a couple of these Gargoyles, and that is just not happening. The Obsidian statues, trying to keep those units alive. The Tracker now down to 2 hit points and able to escape and live and fight another day again. Meanwhile, Gargoyle is now going after the blue Dragon Spawn Warrior. That's going to cause a little bit of separation. Ghouls getting taken down. 47 supply compared to 68. Infi still in a bit of an uphill climb just because of how the heroes worked out or worked in against Infi. Dryads continuing that pressure and push. Low hit point Gargoyles out here on the battlefield trying to finish off some of these treants. We see the Paladin has now gotten to level 4. Level 2 Devotion Aura is available. Are we going to be getting a bunch of mercenaries? Well, we should be, but there's just not enough lumber. All right, Obsidian Statue is going to come over to engage here. We're seeing the Obsidian Statues trying to go after some low hit point Dryads. Dryads able to back away. No easy way to heal up these Gargoyles who are taking quite a bit of damage. Low hit point Gargoyle now backing up at 54 hit points. Dryads able to focus down a target or two. 2 very low hit point Gargoyles. 1 gets taken down. Meanwhile, the blue Dragon Spawn Warrior does end up falling as more damage applied to those Dryads. All right, Paladin with an Orb of Corruption for a bit of bonus damage. Infi needing that, perhaps wanting another hero that could perhaps balance out the current undead heroes, as we see a Dire Frostwolf now out here on the battlefield. Dire Frostwolf with 400 hit point burst heal from that Paladin. Don't remember all of the abilities of the Dire Frostwolf. My apologies. As we're looking at the Shadowhunter now making its rounds out here. Okay, what's going to end up happening? Paladin, Gargoyles, are they going to try and clear out a Dark Wizard creep camp? That's the last major creep camp available. Enraged Elemental being forced to retreat all the way back. No armor left on that Dark Wizard now. A Shade is keeping track, making sure that there is no potential creep jack. As the claws of attack plus 12 go down onto that Paladin. Paladin now up to plus 30 damage between that Roar. Gauntlets of Ogre Strength plus 3. Claws of attack plus 12. Plus 30 damage, nearly critical striking with every attack. Meanwhile, the Gargoyles themselves are going to be doing quite a bit of damage given the opportunity. Starbuck's expansion here at the southern 6 o'clock position getting challenged. Wisp now making their rounds out here. Unit's going to try and retreat back. Archmage is the final hero coming in from Starbuck, so Archmage opts to go... No, that's not an Archmage. That's a Dark Wizard. Sorry. I was like, wait a second. He has Brilliance Aura. I don't see a hero. Brilliance Aura regenerating mana. How effective is that mana regeneration? Oh, seems seemingly very good. So that Dark Wizard doing big chaos damage. You cannot blame me for thinking that that was a hero. looks exactly like, or looks very much like the hero in play. All right, Rogue's gonna get cleaned up here. What is happening with Infi's army? Infi's army now trying to make it out across here, perhaps trying to finish off some units as the Goblin Shredder still continuing that work. There is a big roar right there. There's a big 25% damage bonus detonations across the board to try and keep this Tree of Life alive. 83 supply now compared to 76 as the army of Starbuck now trying to race back here, not quite available, and this expansion does end up getting shut down quickly. Level 4 now on the Goblin Tinker. Dryads are showing up to the party here, led by the Keeper of the Grove and this Dark Wizard. Shadowhunter also sitting at level 5 here, has level 1 Hex, level 3 Healing Wave, level 2 Serpent Ward. Units can engage. Infi also running around with a Polar Furbolg Ursa Warrior. Some big damage indeed. Also Command Aura and Devotion Aura. So everything is just dealing bonus damage. And we still have perhaps more Dire Frostwolf Roars available. There's a Scroll of Protection as well. That's going to be some big damage across the board. Dryads, if they try to abolish magic, are just going to be standing there casting for quite some time as Dryads are now falling. 78 supply compared to 77. Both sides still pressuring through. There, I believe, was a stomp as the Paladin forced to escape away at 307 hit points, teleporting out. Dire Frostwolf, Polar Furbolg Ursa Warrior, some big units here. Meanwhile, Paladin needs to find a way to heal himself back up. Does have a potion of healing, does have decent armor, but well, he needs to stay alive to keep these other high-level mercenaries that he's hired up and operational. We're looking at the southern side expansion, still mining away. Starbuck trying to reestablish that north side. Infi has tried to draw this game closer by taking down the Expos, and now, well, if he can get up another base, that would be potentially game-changing as the Gargoyles, well, need to retreat away again. Infi and Starbuck doing a little bit of a dance around this, well, grove of trees. They're going to be ready to getting into position, and here we are. Here we go. No, they're not going to engage just right yet. Clockwork Goblins going to pop out. There's a roar, and, well, the Goblin Tinker and the Paladin both do not have ranged attacks. The the Dark Wizard himself, the level 8 Dark Wizard, Keeper of the Grove, and Shadowhunter, able to place down some pressure and use those Orbs of Venom very effectively. All right, we're going to see some more Clockwork Goblins getting cleaned up again. Obsidian statue making its way out. Infi purposely staying in no upkeep and running off of 2 bases, getting a 14, or no, sorry, low upkeep instead of high upkeep. 14 gold a second, and compared to 8. Army is looking to engage again. Dual level 4 heroes. Paladin now, well, trying to lead the charge, so to speak. Serpent wards being placed down. That's going to be an important sign to try to act as a deterrent, as the Paladin now could be in trouble. Are we going to see? Yep, there is a stomp right there, a stun, being able to stomp down those units. The Ursa Warrior getting a big holy light after that, a bit of a dive. Paladin still has that divine shield, the devotion aura, and with that should be able to reflect back some of that damage. There's a Scroll of Town portal going away the other side again. Are we going to see the tracker get taken down? No. Beautiful Staff of Preservation by the Shadowhunter to keep that unit alive as well. Both sides trying to maximize the usefulness of every single unit. We're looking at 90 supply compared to 78. Starbuck having a commanding supply lead, but unless it translates out onto the battlefield and into a tactical advantage, it's not going to amount to very much. Dryads, Shadow Hunter, Furbolg Tracker making its way back off to the north. We see Command Aura, Warsong Battle Drums. This War Drums battle damage aura for all of the, well, Night Elf units and that Keeper of the Grove. Infi trying to pick and choose his battles. 84 supply compared to 96 now. 82 supply army compared to 74. There is a quick entangle onto an Ursa Warrior. Ursa Warrior also gets in a big heal. There's a stomp, but all those Dryads just shake it off, not concerned about it at all. Dryads could be focusing or taking a little bit of damage. There goes one, and it really will come down to focus fire. Who's able to focus fire the right types of units and really be able to pick out when units need to be, or when units are in trouble for that heal. All right, Destroyers are out here on the battlefield as well. Gargoyles unable to challenge those Dryads. The Dryads simply too much in number right now. Healing Wave bouncing around, and Starbuck seems to be in a great spot if he can, put pressure on this Necropolis and continue to cause more and more problems. You can see a new Tree of Life trying to be established here, so it soon will be 3 bases to 2, or maybe even 2 bases to 1 if the main bases are nearly done mining out, as they will be in 1 minute. 79 supply compared to 84. Infi in a little bit of a situation. He needs to, get out of high upkeep, win a fight, preferably those two things simultaneously, but he's continuing to go into 90 over 100 supply right now to perhaps have the army size advantage. Dryad's going to get finished off here. Nope, not going to get finished off. There's a quick stun onto a Druid of the Cloth. He may get stabbed to Preservation out of this fight here in just a moment. You're seeing more damage come across here. Archmage, no, Dark Wizard. There's the Keeper of the Grove, level 4. Both sides still fighting once again. All right, there goes the Gargoyle. Destroyers trying to make their way through. Dryads getting pulled back out of the fight here. And really, it looks like Starbuck is actually on the losing side of this battle. Infi now sitting at 76 supply compared to 73 supply. Dryads, Gargoyles, both getting taken down pretty precariously, as we're looking at another round of Gargoyles get taken out. 3-3 full upgrade on those air units. Meanwhile, the Dryads have 3-2 upgrades, dealing a little bit less damage overall. Expansion off to the north, now nearly done being entangled. We are now running 2 bases to 1, both in the same upkeep range. And how will all of this unfold? All right, Gargoyles, Destroyers, Obsidian Statues quickly takes down that Ancient of Wonders, and now may be able to take down this Tree of Life. Tree of Life is trying to hold on barely, and it looks like it will be able to do exactly that as more units now joining in out on the battle. Dryad's trying to pull back here. There's a little bit of a bounce. Tree of Life is still collecting gold while trying to offer a bit of support. Are we going to see some more damage as we see the Siege Golem perhaps ready to engage too? Siege Golem, 1900 hit points, heavy armor, deals chaos damage, could spell problems. There's another Holy Light for Infi to keep all of these mercenaries alive. $75 supply compared to 67. Still anyone's game. Wisps trying to stay alive to mine more gold. Also low on lumber, so Starbuck needs to get quite a bit more lumber as well. It also finished off a couple of additional acolytes that had somehow joined the party there. All right, a little bit of backdoor action happening here. Not going to really get all that much out. Meanwhile, the Dryads, are they going to focus down any of this Tree of Life? That is the question. There's a Staff of Preservation for the save. Gargoyle's now trying to go after some of those Dryads. Shadow Hunter now shows up. A big healing wave saves those units as Starbuck's Expo is about to fall and does fall. The Destroyers and all of the other ground units able to, well, take down the Expo, and now what you're going to see is what you're going to get in the next 3 minutes. Army sizes are continuing to shrink, more treants getting summoned up, Siege Golem now trying to dive in here. Infi's units getting taken out, and the Shadow Hunter now gets up to level 6 and does actually go for Big Bad Voodoo. All right, so Big Bad Voodoo, one of those interesting spells, just puts a giant target on the back of the Shadow Hunter as everything else becomes invincible. Gargoyle getting in some damage onto a Dryad here. Keeper of the Grove is still sitting at level 5. Perhaps he wants level 6 on the Keeper of the Grove instead. Level 6 on the Keeper of the Grove would translate to Tranquility, meaning that he could pick and choose a fight and stay there for quite a bit of time without losing any units just because of that, well, very powerful heal. There's Big Bad Voodoo, and wow, Starbuck going for Big Bad Voodoo, all of these units, and now we see a Resurrection on the other side as well. So Resurrection by the Paladin. The Paladin could be in trouble. Gonna go ahead and staff with teleportation, teleport away. There he goes, but he is not in a good way as that, well, ooh, Dire Frostwolf got healed right after, right before that spear landed.
The player's forces are under attack.
Coming back through. Gargoyles. Paladin, Goblin Tinker, 1 Dire Frostwolf for Infi. Going up against Starbuck. 78 over 80 supply. Gold is still being mined there. There's still plenty of mine here for Starbucks, so we could see a dry up of the gold mines in just a moment. Little bit of superficial damage there.
Player's forces are under attack.
Now, Infi's just kind of getting boxed into this back corner. He doesn't feel comfortable, and he doesn't have enough to really, it doesn't feel like he has enough to break free from this containment. Yes, the Gargoyles are fully upgraded 3-3 now, going up against 2-3. And now also having Roar. But remember that the Roar only plus 7 or 25% more damage, and it only is going to be helpful if he's actually engaging against these Dryads, which he really has not been doing. All right, Black Dragon now out onto the battlefield, and suddenly, with the introduction of a Black Dragon, this Black Dragon can devour units, and if it can in fact devour units, that can really change the course of the game here, as the Dryads are getting, well, cleaned up. Paladin now still sitting at level 6. Perhaps if a couple of the Dryads are gone, that will cause problems. Healing Wave coupled with Tranquility, and those Dryads are seemingly alive for days. Paladin being forced to retreat back here. Are we going to see some more Staff of Sinkers? Yes, we are. There is another Roar, and these Gargoyles are just looking to do so much damage. Currently, I think at plus 7? No, plus 21 now. As Starbuck now makes his way back down to the south. All right, Starbuck looking to stop mining at this expo here. 2,400 gold mine left. Are we going to see some mass detonations? Yes, there you are. There's one. There's one. There's only one still. Well, the Goblin Tinker is already out of mana. Is that going to be 2? There's 2. Goblin Tinker already out of mana as the Paladin tries to get a little bit more healing going. All right, 58 supply compared to 77. That is a very big difference in terms of army sizes. Healing Wave bouncing across Starbuck. well, cutting off the retreat of the escape or the path of escape for Infi. Infi does devour a bear, so that's going to take quite a bit of time to, well, quite a bit of time to digest. As we see Big Bad Voodoo once more used by the Shadow Hunter to keep these other units at bay.
A town is under
Two
siege.
uses of Big Bad Voodoo in the same game. Not an ultimate ability that I see very often. Here we are, Obsidian Statues trying to provide a bit of cover. Dryads and armies gonna go ahead and engage. Shadow Hunter is at 6. Keeper of the Grove is at 6. Level 6 Shadow Hunter just means more of the same. More level 3. Well, no, now it's level 3 Healing Wave. Supply compared to 76. Starbuck looks like he's going to be able to take this game off of Infi. Infi kind of lucking into a bad spot here, trying to win with pure micro, and that does not seem to be getting the job done. As well, more healing wave coming back across. Well, Black Dragon still absorbing quite a bit of damage. Are we going to see another Holy Light coming across from there? There's Tranquility instead from the Keeper of the Grove. Keeper of the Grove now trying to go after this one prime base here, and that is going to be the game. Game and victory by Starbuck over Infi. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.